Hey guys, welcome back to the Bear Connection podcast. You're here with Schuler, Nate, Ryan, Kayley, and Andy. This is Andy's first official podcast as a member of PILT Paranormal. So I think tonight's going to be pretty fun. We're going to let Kayley lead on with tonight's topic. Yeah, you excited?
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
Kayley?
A tale of two sensitives.
It is. What are we going to elaborate on?
I'm a sensitive, and also Andy is a sensitive. So we're just gonna chit chat about the two of us.
Okay, I like that.
Compare, contrast, and questions and answers after from the audience, if you will, I guess.
Yes, we need to get this live, but one step at a time. So as some of our listeners may remember, you have a whole episode, talking about your abilities and your origin story. So we're going to kind of take some of those tie-ins and highlights and bring them to this episode and talk with Andy about it and kind of let Andy go in with his origin story. And then you guys can go back and forth about, differences or similar things that you may experience or, do as sensitives. What do you think about that?
Sounds good to me.
All right, Kayley, so go ahead. Tell us, please, about what it's like to be a sensitive.
Well, I mean, for me, it feels pretty normal just because, it's not like I'm not one of those people that, I see a ghost walking down the road, every single, day, I don't know if it's just because, I just, ignored or something. It's kind of I don't see things, but it's kind of I choose not to see them because, I don't want to see someone's, with their head cut off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of I'm intentional about, I don't want to see them, but, it's kind of I feel an essence nearby.
You ever feel drained?
Yeah.
Sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I couldn't give you a specific instance because it's life. But I know for me it's how do I describe it? Someone explained to me what it was. You feel their feelings per se.
Okay, yeah. More of an emotional connection.
Yeah, so
like an empath.
Yeah, so it's hard to explain because it's their essence per se. What makes them them. If it was their soul right there, it's I would just pick up on for me that just makes sense to me. But I know that doesn't make sense at all.
Would a good example be if someone's staring at you from behind you and you get that weird feeling that someone's looking at you? Is that a decent example of you feeling their emotions?
Yeah, I would actually agree that it's very similar, and you can feel the person behind you or the person in front of you. You can feel that energy.
Not with not with individual people that are here and alive. I'm just saying when people are dead. And I don't know if it's just maybe for me it's maybe if I do pick stuff up I just don't realize it because when it's my normal per se.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you go on investigations, do you open up yourself more, or do you still limit?
A little bit. So I mean, I've only been on 2 investigations. We got 3 if you include the graveyard. I felt it a lot in the jail. I know it's a spooky, scary place to begin with.
That's right. Remember, she saw that light.
Shut up. For the viewers listening.
Viewers on the phone.
She was on the phone. Hey, they could be listening on their phone. It's true. It's true. Right?
This is 1998.
So anyway, he was shining a flashlight. I don't know, was it a flashlight or your phone?
That was my phone.
I was what is that?
Oh my god, it's a light. That was at the jail.
Yeah, it was at the jail. That's when we all got back together in that one hallway.
There's an EVP of it. We'll put it live so you guys can hear it.
It was funny.
It is funny. One example is I guess you call them spirit guides or whatever. Mm-hmm. I like to call them celestial beings, just anything that's not human per se, because they have kind of an awe about them. It's just a brilliance about them, their feeling essence and stuff. As far as I know, I've only felt one human spirit, prior to like meeting you guys and stuff like that. Maybe at the jail. It's hard because it's like it took like multiple like encounters with it to like realize it was like really there. Like it's kind of like I would go into the garage and like I would feel like something was like in the corner, and I like wouldn't think anything of that. I'm just like, okay, whatever, and then I go home. But like as I would keep going through the garage and I'd keep feeling it in that same spot, like I'd start picking up like thoughts. Like it's weird. It's like thoughts just get like shot into your head per se, like thoughts of knowing per se.
Yeah.
And
comes
like,
from nowhere.
Yeah. So what I was feeling was, at the time, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, it was his deceased dad, and I didn't know who it was. Like I was just feeling like it just seemed like there was a man like sitting in the corner, like in despair.
Yeah.
You know, like wasn't sure what to do. And you know, over the course of like, I don't know, a month or two, like I kind of like thought maybe like I'm just gonna say hi. Like it sounds really stupid. Like
I know what you mean.
I made sure there was no one around because I'm like I'm not gonna just talk to the air. That's stupid.
That's what we do every week. Hi. That's good. Yeah.
Hi.
Are you
And
there?
like, for me, it's like there was like a brief pause, and then it was like it just felt like there was this huge amount of energy like right next to my ear, and like I almost felt the words in my head saying like you can hear me, blah blah blah, and like you know it's like part of me is like am I just making this up and crap like that? Because you're like that's how like any like ghost movie starts,
Yeah.
you know.
It's not your norm either.
And so like, but it was just like the energy was just so intense. Like it was like right here that like I just ran, and so like that's what I feel. But like for me, I think the reason why it took longer to kind of like acknowledge that presence is because I'm so used to like feeling like a celestial being's essence that like a human's spirit is like 10 times duller than that. So like it's almost like it's barely there. And so it's like unless you're like looking for like unless you're like opening your mind up to it or whatever, it's like you don't think to look.
What's easier to read, Kayley? A deceased person or a living for you?
Well, that's the thing is like how do you know if you're reading someone correctly? Because they could be lying to you. There have been like it seems like it happens like way too often, but it's like I'll be thinking the exact same thing as someone else like at the exact same time. Like for example, the other day, I was texting so-and-so a question, like, do you have anything about your club event for like the department meeting? And he was like, oh my gosh, Lauren just asked me the exact same question or something like that.
I gotcha.
You know, so like examples like that happens like way too often.
It's not coincidental. There's something more to it.
Or like I'll get the feeling it's like I should go to this restaurant that I really like, but I'm like I'm trying to save money, so I shouldn't. And so I just get this feeling it's like just go, like it'll be fine. And I'll go, and like my friend's family is actually there. Like I'll see them, and they'll invite me over, and they pay for my meal. It's like it's crazy stuff like that. And so I don't know. I feel like I can feel things like I'll feel things more deeply than people. Maybe that's probably why like I might burst out more like in anger because I feel for something, or like I'll pick up on something.
Gives you more of a to react to whatever it is you're feeling, you know.
I don't know, because like for me it's like if you're picking up the vibe of the room per se, like I don't know if I'd necessarily consider that sensitive stuff. Like
Gotcha.
Anything that comes with like people like who are living, like I don't know how much of that is like actually sensitive, just because
I would say more empath, but going with sensitive and empath, they're kind of the same. But I think this is where we can jump in with Andy. What do you think, Andy, with sensitives and empaths and feeling the deceased and the living? How can you differentiate between those?
Actually, I think they're actually pretty close to being the same thing. Except empath, I believe, deals more with the living.
Yeah.
I happen to be both. So basically, an empath is like being able to read someone's emotions or sometimes even their thoughts. And an empath is, how do I explain? Well, it's like what I was saying earlier about standing in line somewhere, like maybe a concession stand or something, and you can feel the energy of that person behind you, basically staring at the back of your head. And so that's what I compare it to. It's kind of the same type of feeling. Now, in terms of the other sensitivities that I have, a lot of times it's, well, for me, it started out with being able to see things. Like, I would see things in short bursts, and I still do from time to time. The reason I see things in short bursts is because I'm not fully open yet. I'm still kind of new to all of this. So I work on that through meditation. But for right now, I can only see things through like very quick, short bursts. But a lot of times I'll see like a quick flash of light, or I will see a face, or I will see someone walk past a doorway, that sort of thing. And
how do they look to you? Are they like see-through, or do they look like a normal person?
A lot of times they will look very solid. They will definitely look like an actual person to me. But the fact that they just appear and then disappear definitely tells me that they're not. But
yeah, do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they definitely appear very solid to me. I used to have what I refer to as night terrors, where I would wake up in the middle of the night, just out of nowhere, and open my eyes, and the second I open my eyes, there would be a face, like right up close to my face, maybe about 3-4 inches away.
Gotcha.
And it would show up and then just disappear. And every time it would be a different face.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it was that energy that was waking me up.
Yeah, probably.
Because I mean, you can sense it when someone's like leaning over you and staring at you. So it was that type of thing for me, and I would open my eyes and boom, there'd be this face, and as soon as I notice it, it's gone.
Yeah, I've actually I've only seen like one actual spirit, but that's because it was like my spirit guide and I'd asked to see him.
Right.
So that's also in the episode that of the podcast that Schuler was talking about.
Right. Well, this has been happening to me. This has been happening to me basically since I was very, very young. But I didn't really know that I was a sensitive until like recently.
How recent, Andy?
Well, I've really started to kind of embrace it just like last year. But all my life, basically, as long as I've been into the paranormal field, I've had sensitives, psychics, empaths, mediums of all sort come to me and tell me that yes, I am a sensitive, and yes, I have a very, very strong energy about me, and that's what draws, spirits to me.
That's really cool. Yeah.
But the thing is, I never actually believed it until, I started putting 2 and 2 together, and I thought, well, maybe they could be right.
That makes me feel better, because that's kind of similar to what happened with me. Is like, people would say, like, one person said that, like, I get he's reminded of an author who like wrote an autobiography about himself, about how like he grew up not realizing he was psychic, and he's like, I think you're like that author. It's so normal to me, like I never even acknowledged it.
I was actually referred to as the same author, so I know what you're talking about.
Oh really? Which
Yeah.
author? Because he didn't say, like he couldn't remember the author.
No, I can't remember the name either.
One day I'll find out.
It was so many years ago, but I was told the exact same thing, so I do know what you're talking about.
And it's like, it's cool, but obviously it's the first time you hear it, so you like, you're just like, okay, whatever. you know, like maybe they're just
Right.
stuff. Here,
And like the first few years that you go through it, it's like it's really scary because like you have no idea what's going on.
yeah.
So, you know, you tend to freak out about it quite a bit. But as the years went on, I became more and more okay with it, you know. So,
I think I was lucky in the sense of like, since I don't really like see them, I feel them. Like growing up, like say if I was a kid playing in my room, like I felt like there was something there like watching me, but like it didn't feel like evil. You know what I mean? So like I just kind of like shrugged it off and like moved on. Like I just kept playing, like I don't know. And I started like once I started taking psychic development classes here in Indy. There's a really good teacher here. I can't remember like what days he does it, like Thursdays and Saturdays. And he does like meditation classes, but he also does psychic development. And so I think it was the meditation class actually where he like one of the meditation classes sessions was he was like meet your spirit guides, and this was literally the first time like he always talked about like, you know, like what spirit guides are and like who they are, and like supposedly you have 5 of them or something. I don't know, that jury's still on that one for me, but so this meditation was like meet your spirit guide, and mine like it came to like it was like we're around a campfire and like it comes to me in like a shroud of like shadowness, and I was like, you know, and then like the next thing it burst open, like basically like the veil burst, and it was like this like the night sky, but like I don't even know how to explain it because it was like so like not anything that like appears like on this earth. Like it's almost like if you took like the like if you've ever seen like a Little Big Planet video game where it's like it looks like a 2D effect but they're moving around in 3D style, like it was almost like that. And you know, I was like and so at this point the teacher's telling you to like, you know, talk with your spirit guide, like ask it a question, like ask it to like, he said like what you want is validation, is to you know, like validate what you're seeing, like if they give you a name, like have them validate that name sometime throughout the week. And for me it's like I didn't really like ask his name, like I kind of had an idea what it was, and like but I just kept saying like I want to see your face, and like he finally showed me his face because it's almost like he had 3 different like levels of like security, if you will. I don't know, he seems like a really like he's like a protector kind of spirit. So like just for side note, like I never mentioned like his name like or like who he is, like for the most part, just because like he's asked me not to, just because like if I were to say that, like an evil spirit could mimic him, is kind of like his spiel. And so you know, I leave class, life goes on, and I want to say like 3 days later, well maybe if it was a Saturday, more like 4 days later, because I feel like it happened on a Wednesday. Like I woke up and I had this dream, like you know how nightmares like they scare you so much that they wake you up. Well, like,
absolutely.
I had a dream that was like so filled with love that like I ended up waking up, I was like, this is really cheesy, and like I turn around and he's like right there, and like I realized that like I got really scared, and like I looked the other way, and when I came back he was like not like physically there anymore, like visibly, but it was just like it was crazy like how real it was, and I'd never seen it before, and it just like that, I think that's why it scared me so much, because like when you see something like that it's like the hell. Because you're like what's happening.
So surreal.
Yeah, and like I think the reason why I saw him is because during the meditation I kept saying like I want to see you, like can you show me or whatever. So that's that. I'm not sure where I was gonna go with that, but well actually no, once I saw him I realized that like I'd actually seen him like in dreams like previously, like later in like earlier in life, like throughout my years. Like there are a couple of dreams where like, you know, like sometimes dreams will just stick with you, like they're so vivid that they just stay.
Yeah.
And I think someone mentioned that might be like a cosmic dream or crap like that, I don't know, but it's just one of those dreams like you just remember it so vividly, and like I remember him being part of that in a certain way. and then like just feeling like his essence, I realized like that's the spirit that I've been feeling like my whole life. I just didn't realize what it was.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like nothing's there, so like why would I care what it's there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can you draw a picture of him?
No, because he wouldn't want me to, for privacy reasons.
But she could, basically.
But I could. I know you don't care.
It's
You want to see. Trust me, I know you want me to draw it, but
I know, like,
out of
you just
respect.
see his just face, or you see like his whole
Are you all to say like where, like what time frame he was from?
Well, he's like an angelic spirit. Like
Never human.
yeah, I think he was never human. So yes, he was a cat.
That's why. So like, do you talk to him
that's
every day?
That's why I call it. No, that's the thing is like I don't talk to them. Like I don't think to talk to them, and I've been scolded by a psychic before to be like, you don't talk to them. Like I'm like, I listen. I think it's just because I get so distracted by my life that I'm.
Yeah.
You know, because it's
Totally
like
get it.
I've had like, you know, I've had a pretty like safe childhood in the sense of like I don't have like dead things coming to me all the time. You know, like I feel bad for people who like, you know, that was their experience.
Don't you think you could help him more though? Like you can solve cases.
I don't know. See, I honestly feel closed off just because some like emotional crap like went down in my personal life like a couple of years ago that like I feel like kind of closed me in a way, like because I was like so depressed and stuff like that. So like I'm trying to like kind of get back to things, if you will. Like I've been really like, you know how Andy says he meditates, like I'm really bad and I don't meditate, but I should. And I practice Reiki and like I've seen it work before, but it's just like I don't know, I just don't do it. It's like it's like I'm not allowing myself to heal. So.
I'm actually going through the exact same thing. I've got a lot of blocks as well, and it's not allowing me to like open up fully.
Yeah, I started like questioning myself, like doubting myself, just because like what happened like a couple years ago just like shook me so much. Like it wasn't a spiritual thing, it was just like a personal relationship type thing, and that is just like it just shook everything. And so I haven't really like gone back, like as Andy would say.
I am curious for you and Andy, Kayley. Well, we'll start with Andy and then go with you, because I know you just said that you've kind of stopped the meditation. But Andy, how do you meditate, and what's the best way for people that are sensitive to meditate to kind of open up? What would you suggest?
Basically, what I do is I do things that help me to open myself up more by just simply closing my eyes, and I listen to the sound around me. And a lot of times when you're really focused on the sounds that are around you, sometimes other sounds will come in, and a lot of times it will end up being like a voice, or you know, something like that. And you know, you want to listen to that, because that's a lot of times that is a spirit that is trying to give you a message. So yeah, basically that's what I do, is I really concentrate on, you know, my environment, and I just go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to know how to keep your connection to that environment safe, or if the spirit that's trying to communicate to you is good or bad?
I generally use the white light protection, which is envisioning a white light surrounding your entire body and then closing in tightly around you. And I tend to do this several times just to make sure that it's well secured. And that will generally keep out anything negative. And so, yeah, that's basically how I protect myself when I meditate.
So it's the thought of something positive and pure, such as the white light. Yeah, the essence.
Exactly. The white light represents purity, so nothing can come through it.
Okay.
And the white light is also, it looks different to different people as well.
Yeah. Okay, I can understand what you're saying. Everyone envisions their own style or shade of it, correct?
Exactly.
Now, jumping to Kaylee. Kaylee, how were you meditating before you started kind of, closing off from it?
Well, what he brought about the white light, that's what they tell you to do is like, my guy, like the basic meditation that he would do, our instructor would like have us go through is like, you ascend like a staircase because you're supposed to like, you're trying to like, in some ways, like you're trying to like raise yourself up to a higher plane because like, quote unquote, the demons are down here and crap like that.
Yeah.
And so like you ascend up and like you at the end of the staircase is like the bright white light, and like for him it would like he would just tell us to like surround ourselves in the white light, like bathe in it and be like just kind of like get yourself like, I don't know, ready.
Yeah.
And then
like a precaution type of thing.
Yeah, and I mean like really like meditations like are all different. It's not like it has to be this way. Like this guy would always don't put psychic energy in a box. Like there's no like one formula way. Like
okay.
Because like for example, like when we start meditations, like he would say like feel it like flowing up through your legs or whatever. I told him like it's like I always feel it in my hands first. Like is that wrong? He's like, no, that's perfectly fine. He's like, that just means you're a healer and stuff like that. And so like everyone experiences things differently, like Andy said. I've had meditations like on my own where it's like I end up going through like a bamboo forest because I just felt like that was like where I was at the moment.
Tranquil.
Yeah.
Something.
So
I usually feel it in my hands first too, by the way.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the people that I've talked to, throughout my time with PILT, I've noticed more common than not, they feel something in their hands. And I've always heard the term healer. And in that sense, let's go with you, Andy. Well, how would you, elaborate on what a healer is?
Well, I personally am an energy healer. And a healer basically uses their own energy from their body to heal others using their energy. So it's again really difficult to explain. By the way, I'm not, I've not done what Kayley's done. I've not taken any sort of classes or anything like that. I've learned what I've learned through people who do the same thing that I do.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I've not actually taken any courses or anything like that. So that's why it's harder for me to explain than it is for Kayley. But for me, basically, I like to close my eyes and envision the person who is sick or is in pain or needs help, and I will envision myself putting the white light around them, and then I will basically envision them, and then I will work my way inward inside of their body until I find the problem area. And when I find the problem area, I will then focus my energy on it until it's no longer a problem. That's what I do. And yes, it is very, very draining, but I'm still in the process of learning and things like that.
Do you ask your guides to help you?
I do. I have trouble with communicating with my spirit guides because I'm not.
Why? Oh, you were going to say it. Sorry.
Yeah, because I'm not fully open yet, so I have trouble in terms of communicating with any spirit really. But most of the time when I am communicating with spirits, I will get, like I said, like a flash of like a vision, or a lot of times I will get like a phantom smell. Things like cologne or perfume. I've gotten the smell of like candy or cherry lollipops before, you know, any kind of smell. I've gotten flowers, roses, gardenias, that sort of thing.
That's cool.
And also I am able to feel energy as well. Like I can differentiate between a good spirit and a bad spirit just by how they feel. I don't know how it is for you, but for me, like when I come across like a good natured type of spirit, it's like it's almost like a warm, tingly type of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll raise the hair on my arms, and my arms will get really tingly, and the back of my neck will get warm. And if it's something negative, my heart rate will speed up, and I'll start to feel like anxiety, like really strong anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I differentiate between the two.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, I've never, as far as I know, like I've never gotten any smells. I think I just don't care about that sense very much to pick it up, I guess. For me, I'm an extremely visual person. Like I always tell people, like if I could speak in pictures, like I would, because words kind of let me down a lot. So I'm
Right.
a fan of words. I think for me, like I can get an image from my spirit guide and know exactly like what they're trying to say to me, kind of thing.
Right.
Like it just like, because I pick up on like the feeling of that image, like what does that image bring? Like sometimes I'll get like I said before, it's like I'll get like the thought message in my head. Like it's like a snapshot thing. So it's kind of like to the point where it's like it's so quick. You're like, did I make that up just now, or like did someone just tell me that? Because it just the thought just comes into your head like so quickly.
That happens to me too, actually. Like you'll get almost like a photo of like a photograph of a person.
Yeah. For me, it's like it can be a whole scene too. So like, for example, like when I saw like my husband's dad, like I was getting like a visual of like, I knew it was like, it's like I could see the visual so clearly, like of like the guy, like there was like an upside down like bucket in the garage, like one of those like tall plastic buckets you could sit on. Like I just felt like there was a man sitting there like this, you know, just like, what do I do? But like there are times where it's like seeing like, I don't know, like future states. I'm not trying to say like I like can see the future and crap like that, but like I'll get
What's that guy's name?
Nostradamus. Yeah, it's like I'll get a picture of like how something could be, and I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. Like, but like, you know, sometimes what will happen is like life gets in the way. It's like it prevents you from getting to that image and things like that, or you know, so like I know people, it's ironically people come to me asking for advice. Like I've never like given anyone like really a psychic reading. Like I'm kind of afraid to, because I'm like, I don't want to get it wrong, because I'm kind of a perfectionist like that. But it's like weirdly enough, like people come to me for advice, and like, you know, obviously I use logic, but at the same time, it's like I can kind of like visualize like a future state for them and be like, hey, this could be like your future, but you got to do this, this, and that. Otherwise, you're just gonna be messed up.
It's like they're drawn to you.
Didn't you do something with like paper or something to read somebody, or they did something?
Psychic art?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Tell
did
us
do
about
stuff.
psychic
That was
art,
fun.
Kayley.
So, thanks for reminding me.
Right on, Ryan.
Thank you.
You won your
Congratulations.
back.
You can.
Ryan's being his usual skeptic self, so it's okay.
Since Nate's been quiet, you can ask Andy the next question.
All right, psychic art.
Okay, so psychic art real quick. So like one of the psychic development class sessions, and like whenever we go to psychic development class, it's like it's going to be something different every time. Like I think they finally like they're not letting him do psychic art anymore because it's just messy, obviously, because it's dealing with paints.
Oh,
Because they were doing it at like a psychic store.
yeah.
If you're in Indianapolis, it's called New Age People. they have lots of stupid knickknacks there, but like I don't really go there for the knickknacks. You know, it looks kind of like a gift shop in there. I mostly just go for the guy who like runs the classes because he's pretty cool. And so he introduced psychic art, and it's almost like, what are those ink blot type tests? I guess it is.
It's the
Get it, Nate.
Rorschach. Rorschach.
I'm afraid to say it because I know I'll screw it up.
Rorschach.
Rorschach
sauce.
Rorschach's the thing.
So it's kind of.
Starts with an R.
Hang on, Andy. We got this.
Maybe Andy knows. Andy, do you know what it's called?
It's called the Rorschach test.
There we go.
Oh, so I was
Thank
right.
you, Andy.
Yeah,
I was right.
second guess it right. Andy said it so clear. We're over here like stuttering on our words.
So it's kind of like you have like the colors of the rainbow in front of you, which every color is like a representative of like a chakra, you know, like that stuff.
Gotcha.
And like I've never like I don't really like study up on chakras that much because I don't care. You know, like I know like the basics. Be like, okay, this means that per se.
You're being picky sensitive.
Ooh.
I admit it.
What
I
is-
am.
You are.
It's one of those things. For me, it's like things that like I don't understand. I leave open. I'm like I stick a pin in it, and if I get more evidence later on, so be it. If not, it's not gonna ruin my life. I'm not gonna like obsess about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if Schuler does the test, would you ever?
It's not a test.
I'm
like,
not a test, but if he does it, would you be able to read what
I
goes in
actually
there?
did one last week on Facebook. I saw a demon.
let me finish.
I
'Cause
saw a demon.
So, for example, like we each get a partner, and like it's kind of like you'd hold up your hand to kind of like read their energy, and like you would pick up different colors of paint, like that you feel like, you know, I feel like purple or something. You just kind of like
Black.
squiggle it around the thing. There wasn't black. Haha.
There's no black.
There's no black.
You're out.
Because
Make black.
technically black is all the colors in one. So
Oh, it just makes it
Boom.
together, and there you go. Custom.
pigment. So once you once you feel you got like enough squigglies on your paper, like water, like paint droplets or whatever, you like fold it up any way you want, like any way you feel like it needs to be folded up. And actually what he had us do is like we folded our own pieces of paper ahead of time, and then you open it back up, and then like let's say this person folded up their piece of paper this way and this way, and then they gave it to me. I open up, I do it, and you're supposed to fold it back up the way they did, because it's supposed to like them folding up puts like their energy onto it and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so, you know, I wasn't like when I first did it, like I wasn't sure like if this was actually going to work. So I was just like, because I'd never seen it before, like I didn't even think this was an option, and like it was really interesting. Like it's like it just clicked with me. Like it was like I was like, I want to do psychic art for a living because this seems like so much fun. Like because I'm just so you know, like my background is like I always wanted to be like an artist when I was a kid. And then my sister said they make no money, so I had to find new dreams. So like that's why it really resonated with me. And like I had been to a couple more classes where he had done psychic art, and like it would just be spot on. Like there was one where it like when I was reading this person, it like I saw like a spine, like it looked like a human spine. Like you can see the bones and stuff like that, but I told him like it looks like there's like healing rings around it. Like there's some kind of back issue with either you or a family member, but like it looks like you guys are aware of it and like you're dealing with it, like it's going to be fine. And she was like, you're exactly right. And I was just like, I was like, what? And she like told me like her mom like was having the back problems, and like she'd already been to the doctor, and like they were getting it handled and stuff like that. And I was just like I literally never met this person before. I'm like, that's what kind of like ingrained it for, like that's what did it for me, was just like every time I did those things, like they would always be like spot on. Like there was one where I always like it when it's like a giant like you know, ink blot. But like there was one person where like he did a different exercise this one time where like you fold your own piece of paper and you put the paint on yourself.
Gotcha.
And then you pass that over to someone else. Like you would just like we were sitting in a circle and we just passed it over. And like this one, like there was no ink blot because she did like very little on it. And I was just like not into reading it. I was like I can't read any of this. I was like, I see a praying mantis and crap like that. Like no, and I was like, I think I see this, and like they're like, ooh, oh, you know. And because I don't know, because apparently like when you see like animals things, like they're supposed to be symbols for things, but like I don't know these symbols because
Gotcha.
I'm like all new at this. I was just like, so I see a praying mantis, so what, I don't care. And the psychic guy, like the teacher, was like that usually when you see a praying mantis in either like a psychic reading or something like this, it means that you're like experimenting with things, like you're trying out new things in your life. And she brought up that like I think she was like going through like a career change at the moment, like she was like she's exploring the idea of like a career change or something like that. And I was like, oh well, okay, I feel a little better now. It was one of my off days where I was kind of pissy and didn't really like, that was like my heart wasn't open kind of deal. So I was like, it's good to know that I can still read people even when I'm like ticked off.
You just don't care. So yeah, you're on your own.
So that's what psychic art is, if anyone didn't know in the room.
Andy, what is your take on that, sir?
Well, I really don't know anything about psychic art, to be honest with you. But I do give readings of my own. I've just started actually giving private readings, and my readings are intuitive, and I also give like pendulum readings. But I'm currently working on something new. I'm working on developing cartomancy skills.
What would that be?
Cartomancy is like reading playing cards. Like average run-of-the-mill playing card. I've got a deck of
the standard deck of cards kind of stuff.
Yep, standard deck of cards. I've got a deck of bicycle cards that I just recently got. And so yeah, I've been basically I've been studying to read them kind of like tarot. It's actually very similar to tarot. It's a little more difficult to learn and understand than tarot is, because tarot has, so many images involved with it. Each card has like very vivid pictures, whereas playing cards do not. So it's a lot of memorization in terms of what the cards mean to you and things like that. But everybody has a different interpretation of what each card means. So it's very difficult to learn because it's not something that you can just hop on YouTube and learn, simply because everybody has different interpretations.
Andy, I think Nate had a couple of questions for you regarding this theory.
Okay.
Do you have an actual question? Or a sarcastic question?
No, it's Nate, not me.
Oh, okay. I thought Nate said Ryan.
It's okay. I will jump on with Nate here. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut in line real quick, Nate. My question, first off, is how do you go about understanding to read these cards, Andy, compared to the tarot cards? No, not Google. Go ahead, Andy.
Well, there's a little bit of numerology involved. You want to start with the number and then the picture for each card. And then once you have read what each number and picture means, you want to basically use numerology to string them together to come up with a full message.
That's really interesting.
So, yeah. That's the part that I'm currently still working on, though. Once I get the hang of that, I'll be ready to actually start doing readings with the cards. But
what'd be cool is if we did a podcast where you did a reading doing that. That'd be cool sometime.
Actually, to be honest with you, after the podcast was over, I was thinking about bringing that up.
Yeah, it'd be fun to like just have like testing podcasts like that at some point.
We can test
Right.
Nate.
Yeah, we can do Nate because he hasn't talked all night.
We can do Nate.
We love you, Nate. But no, like if we bring on guests too, like maybe we can make that an ending segment where if they feel comfortable enough, you could do that.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
I know one, like just, one of the goals for me, like joining this group was not just to like discover ghosts and stuff like that, but like see like put myself in those like environments of, I don't necessarily get to see ghosts all the time. Let's go to places where there are ghosts, like, or have been confirmed sightings per se, to like, that way I could test out if like this stuff is real or not. And then also like, it'd be nice to like try out some like psychic readings at some point.
Ivy Boo.
Ivy Boo?
Ivy Boo.
What about it?
No, they can do readings. They didn't have that last year.
That would be unique.
That'd be different.
Well, and like for me, it's like I'm not necessarily for Andy, but for me, like I'd probably like offer them for free just because I'm learning.
That'd be
Makes
cool.
the most
And
sense to me.
And it's interactive too.
What I do is I offer my readings for free, but there are those people who feel that, I gave them such a good reading that they insist on paying me. But I don't accept money. So what I tell them is I will accept small, inexpensive crystals, since I am also a collector of crystals.
I totally agree with that. But yeah, ultimately, Ryan's idea of doing that at the Ivy Boo, which is a local Indiana event that we did last year.
If we get invited.
Yeah, if we get invited to go back to it, because these events.
What did you like? Did you guys do something?
No,
Ryan
I was abandoned to give candy to the kids.
What?
Ryan is a good guy. He ended up getting
Because I was a new person, I got kicked out of the room to go get candy to the kids.
You were manning the table.
Andy, it's a local Indiana event that we did. And we do any events that we're invited to that we can get to where we put out our name or we talk to people and we share stories. And what Ryan is trying to say here is if we get back to this event or another, we could have Kayley try to do some readings and see if, people are interested with that.
Or sit at the table giving candy to kids.
Or sit at the table and candy kids. Or along with that, what we could do is do a live video chat with you, Andy, and have you and Kayley both doing that. And I think that'd be cool because you have it in person, and then at the same time you have the same thing going on, but with someone from another state, do a video chat. And I think that'd be a cool experiment at the same time as people have an interaction. Are you down for that, Andy?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
I don't think anybody had
Equipment.
I don't think anybody had that last year.
What's that?
The readings
Psychic
and
stuff?
stuff.
It didn't.
So I guess so let's say we're on investigation and we call you in or do a video chat. Would you be able to feel anything if you were on a call?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Some people can.
Okay.
I do a lot of long distance work in terms of like with my healing and things like that. So yeah, I would absolutely be able to.
Okay.
It's something we could try out. I mean, it doesn't hurt to
Well,
try.
no, I didn't know how that worked.
I think it'd be a very
I don't know.
interesting approach.
I've never tried it, so I don't know.
For sure. I mean, we'd have Kayley in person, and then we'd also have Andy's feelings from a video chat from another state.
And when combined,
We are Captain Planet. I'm heart.
Nate, did you still have any questions for Andy?
An after thing.
When did you discover that you had these abilities?
It started at a very young age, but I, like I said, I really didn't start to embrace it until about last year. But I've been able to do this for a very long time. So I would say it started for me probably around the age of 5 or 6.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I just haven't used it a whole lot until recently.
How do you recognize it, Andy, when you were 5 or 6? Do you remember anything significant that stood out during that time?
Just like the flashes of images that I would get. Like I said, it all started with the images, and that for me went on for several years. And then after that, it started turning into like certain smells.
Okay.
And it basically, being a part of the paranormal community, helped open me up a lot as well, because I became more open to the possibility of spirits actually existing.
Gotcha.
And that does open you up quite a bit. But the more that you experience, the more open you become.
It's very true. Yeah. Oh, I think Ryan has a question. You have a point.
Did you tell your parents or anybody when you were younger about it at all, or did you keep it?
No, actually, I still haven't.
I know you guys are in the same boat because you haven't.
Puppy knows.
Yeah, I don't think they would really care all that much. But I haven't told very many people at all, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what Ryan was sidetracking with Kayley here, because Kayley hasn't really shared too much of her sensitivity with her fellow family and friends.
Your parents listen to the podcast?
I don't even know they exist, dude.
No.
So you haven't told me you're even doing this at all.
I think they know now, because like they know like I'm part of like a paranormal investigative team. It was brought up like once, like.
But they don't know that you're sensitive.
She's like a superhero.
And why are we hiding this?
It's personal.
Because a lot of people don't believe in it, and so.
Yeah,
exactly. There's a lot of people that will look at you cross-eyed if you.
Don't be scared of who you are.
Ryan and I are just don't be afraid of who you are.
The more you know from
actually, I mean, there's some people who know, like, there's like close friends who know, but they're like, they're in this world too. Like, like they're not necessarily psychics, but they like enjoy this stuff and whatever. The reason my husband discovered it, like, I kind of like kept it a secret from him for a while, because for like we had been dating for 3 years, and then now we've been married for 4 years, and so like it took until like year 2.5 for me to like, maybe it was year 3. I think it was year 2, to tell him, like, to like let him know, because I'm like, when we were like early on dating, like he was like adamant about like ghosts don't exist, and like for him, like, it would have been a deal breaker, and like, so I was kind of just like, in my mind I was thinking like, well, maybe I should break up with him, but I was just like, I have this feeling that like, I have this stupid feeling that like, let's say like God has like wants us to like be together. I'm like, I don't know why. I had the feeling that he would one day like come to like my side of thinking, or like understand it. Like, it's just like, this wasn't the right time to like bring it up. Yeah. And thankfully that time came, and he's like all on board. Like I had admitted to him that like, that this was why I hadn't told him in so long. It was, he said he was like really sorry that like he made me feel that way, that he like, that I couldn't have talked to him about it. Yeah. And I think for him, like, it impacted him more because I told him the story about his dad, like about, and you can like hear this in one of the podcast episodes, if it's still episode 2 or something.
It is. But
like, basically, like his dad and I worked together, like, because Brian was going through lots of like emotional depression, like guys go through self-hate, it's just like, he never really worked through his emotions after his dad died, and so he and like his dad and I were like helping him to like emotionally mature, per se, like to like overcome this. And basically after we were married, like I didn't really like feel him anymore, like until like the night I admitted it to him. Like I realized, like, hey, this happened. Just gonna put this on your plate. Here you go. And like it, like I felt like the guy came back. Like, let's say like he came back from heaven, because like he wasn't here anymore. Like he had gone away
somewhere else.
Like he, like what he needed to get done was done, and he left. And so like, it's kind of like a vortex opened up above us, and like more information was being downloaded as to like why his dad had been there in the first place. And I told him, like, words were just tumbling out of my mouth. It's like, ugh. And it was like, basically like his dad felt so guilty for leaving Brian when he was so young, that he wanted to stick around to make sure he turned out okay. And like Brian cried, I was crying, like emotions are going everywhere. And that was pretty much that. stuff like that.
Interesting.
I think there's like a family photo where like I swear there's like an orb in there, and it's like a Christmas family photo. Like we're all in it except for the dad because he's not there, and like like the orb's like right on Brian's arm, and so I could have photoshopped it out because I have that capability, but I intentionally left it in there because I was like, I feel like this was his dad being in the photo with him.
It's really interesting.
So
wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for it to feel that strong too. I mean, you know, it's some people look at it and just be like, oh, okay, whatever. But I mean, obviously, things have happened throughout your time, you know, with him, and some interesting things have happened.
Yeah.
And Andy, you know, along with Kayley talking about feeling comfortable with telling people whether or not you're a sensitive or empath or stuff like that, other than us, have there been other people, not the people that you've helped, you know, like the Instagram or anything, but have there been close family or friends that you have felt comfortable to tell?
No.
Oh, not there yet, huh?
No, not really. Mostly just through Instagram and things like that. You know, people that I'm generally not emotionally connected with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not to that point yet. I'm waiting until I can get a better hold of it, like a better understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I need to work on these blocks that I'm having, and I need to work on, you know, being able to hone it better, and things like that. So once I get a hold of it and I understand more of what's going on with me, because, you know, until you fully understand it, how are you going to explain it to someone?
Exactly.
You know, so I'm kind of waiting for that to happen first.
Like Kayley said, baby steps, you know, and maybe over time, with you being along with the team now, you know, you and Kayley and even myself, Nate and Ryan, we can learn more about what it is to be a sensitive, what to look out for, how to know, you know, how to hone in onto these abilities, and whether or not you want to suppress them or embrace them, you know, it's good to know how to have that type of ability to control them.
Right, you know, and maybe Kayley and I can work together on it, and work to, you know, strengthen our abilities together.
It's always good to have a psychic buddy.
Exactly.
Do you have your psychic buddy? Sorry, that's a reference from Finding Nemo, except they said, do you have your exit buddy?
No. Sorry, I didn't quite grasp that because I've not seen that movie. So.
No worries. I'm obsessed with kids movies because I live in the past, I guess.
Disney movies are witchcraft.
There's a lot of
What'd
witchcraft.
you say? Disney has witchcraft?
There's a lot of witchcraft in there. There is. Okay. We have plenty of topics and plenty of podcasts to come on. But sadly, I think tonight we have come to an end. And once again, Kayley and Andy, I think you guys have made this hour to zip by.
The end always comes too soon.
It does. It really does. You know, and I think we can elaborate more on this topic, but it's going to be interesting whenever we bring this topic back up.
Yeah, I mean, it'll get more interesting as we grow in our abilities and things like that. So.
Yeah, totally. Kayley, Andy, thank you guys for talking personally again, you know, about your abilities and your experiences, obviously. I know Nate really didn't have as many questions as I was hoping he would. That's all right, Nate. We'll get you next time.
Good conversations.
Well, before we go, if anyone out there listening wants to contact us, all you got to do is go to Google, type in PILT Paranormal. You'll find our Facebook page, Instagram, website, all that good stuff, and our updates on Instagram. We'll have them on there too. You know what? I think Ryan has one more thing here. No, Ryan, Kayley?
Nope, I got nothing.
Nate's still quiet over there.
Yep,
so nothing there. But yeah, you know, thank you guys for listening, and we hope you stay tuned in for our next episode. You guys don't have anything else? I don't think I do. So
I think we're good to go.
All right. Once again, thank you guys for listening to the Para Connection podcast, and we will speak with you next time. And until then, stay frosty.